Hi, everybody. Great to see you. And we're really looking forward to spending a bit of time unpacking the Social Justice Week resources for 2025. I'm Michael, and I'm part of the education team.
And kia ora, everybody. My name's Justine. I'm the other half of the Caritas Education Team.
Awesome. Whereabouts are we, Justine? We're on our Social Justice Week website on the Caritas website. Is that right?
Yep, so for everybody out there, you can access us by going to www.caritas.org.nz. You'll then go along and hit the Education tab and then find your way along to Social Justice Week. And clicking on that will bring you to Social Justice Week 2025.
Fantastic. And I know I've seen that image before, Justine. It's part of the poster, right?
That's part of our 3-year development as we've journeyed together to imagine peace for all.
So some of you will remember that in 2023, we started with this focus. It was the brick underneath the poster, Peace Begins With You. And then last year, we moved into Choose Forgiveness, No Peace. And this year, the focus, which you can see the color coding there is pink, is Let's Build Peace Together, Puratia Te Rangi Mārie. And that's a pretty exciting theme. I'm pretty excited about it. I know you are, Justine.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go through all the resources. So the web page for Social Justice Week has a lot in it. We're just going to pull out maybe some of the most important elements, but there's a lot that you can discover yourself. We know that the Bishop's statement is coming very, very soon. I think we're only days away from getting the statement up here. At the moment, that won't come through for you. So what's that first line, Justin? We've got that resource overview, don't we?
Yeah.
And that unpacks all of the elements that make up the Social Justice Week resources. We won't look at that right now, but one of the big elements which you probably want to start with, it's got lots of the key information, is this background notes for teachers. So let's go into that right now. We've talked before about when you go into a resource in a browser, not all of the navigation works very well. So we would encourage you to, when you've gone into a resource, to actually download it onto your computer. And when you do that, use that particular file because you'll find that things will talk to each other and the navigation will work a lot better. So I might actually do that just to show that live. Justine, do you want to talk to us about what does the background notes actually have in it when we go to the contents page?
So part of the development of the resources is to provide you with as much information as possible to understand how you might go about utilizing these resources. And so from here, you'll be able to navigate through things. We've got things like key definitions. We've got connections into our Catholic social teaching. You'll see that there are different peace building symbols. And so as a starting point, we thought we might start with curriculum connections so that you can see a clear link into how you might incorporate this into your planning and use this to support your Tātou Whkpono, our faith curriculum work. Over the 3 years, you'll see there straight away. 2023, we used a blue theme. In 2024, there was a green theme. And for 2025, we've got this pinky color that is used to show the connections for 2025. A special feature for this year that you're going to see is our connection into the Te Rama Aroha cross themes. So for all our resources, you will see that we've looked at how do we incorporate that. You've got your phases of learning. You've got your touchstones on the left. You've then got at the top the Tātou Whkpono introduction from the curriculum. And below that, you'll see that there is a Caritas explanation of that. So again, that's almost a pick up and grab and pop into your resources, into your planning, so that you'll be able to make those curriculum links directly. And there you can see that that's from year 1 all the way through to year 13, and nice and convenient for teachers to be able to access. In addition to that, we've also looked specifically to see what achievement objectives our resources link in with directly into the curriculum. And so you'll see different colors there, which relate specifically to the 3 years. So if you were looking for something from 2023, when we did Peace Begins With You, you would be looking at the blue, and then conversely, you'd be moving through the different colors. In all the resources, the bottom AO9 is essentially a wonderful AO for schools to use those Caritas resources throughout the year in the different ways. I think we probably hit the mark on curriculum connections.
Fantastic. That's great, Justine. Thank you for that. There's lots of extra information in those background notes, but we'll let you have a look at that in your own time. And I think all of it is pretty self-explanatory. Should we open up the peace building blueprints? So with this theme of building peace, which we've had sort of right from the start with the poster, that's really the focus for 2025. We have, rather than a lesson plan, we've got blueprints. And you'll see that they are across 3 different levels, year 1 to 4, year 5 to 8, and year 9 to 13. And you also see that they're available in 2 different formats. So you have the PowerPoint, Microsoft, and then we also have Google Slides here. So you can pick and choose to use whatever you like. We'll just show for today the year 5 to 8 version from a PowerPoint format. Now, again, this has pretty much everything in it, Justine, doesn't it? There's lots of slides, and don't get put off by the total number of slides there. It's this sort of takes you through from the start. One of the key things to note, again, with this file is definitely download it. Down the bottom right, there are these navigation buttons. And so you can be moving, when you're looking at the PowerPoint or the slideshow on presentation view on your big screen or on your laptop, you can be clicking on these buttons to navigate between all the different pages quite easily. So you've obviously got your back and forward. You've also got your home button. Home is actually this slide here that we see on the screen right now, which we'll talk about in a second. And then you've got these 5 little icons or symbols that Justine talked about before. These are the special symbols for 2025 for Social Justice Week. And you can see them here. They're in the bottom right-hand corner alongside this other symbol here. You'll notice this symbol is quite cool because it's got the cross in the center and it's got the image of the dove as well. We thought that was really cool, a good way to remind us that when we are living out our faith and we're trying to build peace, those symbols remind us about that. So we have 5 different focus areas for this year across what we've done across the 5 days. Did you want to tell us about what are those 5 focus areas, Justine?
Absolutely. So just a reminder that this is a suggested lesson format or a way you might look at a program throughout a week. Some schools might choose to do all 5 themes. One school might just decide that they'd like to focus on one aspect. So they might be looking at solidarity. And so that would be their focus area for potentially that week of social justice. Again, you are welcome to use these resources at any point in the year that kind of match in terms of themes or Catholic social teaching principles that you might be focusing on. But for today, we're going to have a look at our Monday theme. We're going to look at building peace through prayer. Te puripuri I te rangimaria mai te karakia. So if we click on that, we start. And we're really excited to say that as you start this journey, you'll have an introduction slide, nice and easy. We move to the next page. We hope we've made your lives really nice and easy. You'd be able to pick up again the curriculum connection straight away. Pop that into your planning. Share it with your students so that they also have an understanding of what they're trying to learn. At the starting point, we've used the Jubilee prayer as our anchor prayer for Social Justice Week 2025, being pilgrims of hope And so we have those different options available for students to be able to say the prayer in. We have English, Te Reo Māori, Samoan, Tongan, and New Zealand Sign Language. You might choose to focus on one of those prayers each day of the week. And when you click on it, it'll take you to the prayer for that day. And then you can say it together as a class. Moving on from there, once we've said our opening prayer, we then have a little focus page that we've created. And when you do use this as a slide, things will transition in. So it actually comes in as prompts. But as always, we have a bit of an introduction to it. We then have an opportunity for discussion and reflection to start building understanding, critical thinking. And then we popped in some ideas there to support the discussion in class. So these could be things that your children already suggest, but could be further things that you might need to get them to chat about. From there, with all good learning, we understand that we need to have enduring understandings. At the end of this learning, what do we want our children to understand? And so we have developed 2 key messages for each day of the week that will be able to drive the learning. So if we move on from there, you'll unpack that with your students, being obviously faith-driven. We have our quote from our Pope. And then from there, our scripture, as always, a key focus for us. And then we've got an opportunity for students to reflect on those, on the scripture. So we've got that, and in each year level, you'll see that these questions may be phrased differently. The language used will be different depending on the year level. And then from there, we really have taken an opportunity to think about, well, what does that Catholic social teaching principle look like? And we've connected to the ideas for that day as well as the Catholic social teaching principle. So, Michael, I might let you now move into this aspect.
Yeah, great. So because Te Wiki Aotearoa Māori is very close to social justice, we always is, we have a great opportunity for students to learn a little phrase. And so the key phrase for that particular focus or for the day will be in both English and Te Reo, and the students can practice saying the Te Reo. So we thought that would be a great idea. And then we go on our sort of journey. So we go to different destinations each day or each time we've got a focus. And that comes back to the passport, our peace passport that we'll talk about a little bit later. And so for this particular one, we're off to the Holy Land. And you'll see that for each of the focuses, there are a number of different slides that talk about the information. In this particular case, we're looking at what's happening in the Holy Land, how Caritas is helping out. And there's a number of videos which you and the students can watch, which will share some of that. I think I've just clicked on the video accidentally, so let's go back. Yeah, in this case, I think there's about 4 or 5 different videos that are available to be seen. From hearing from people working at Caritas Jerusalem, I think the director is speaking as well. There's even a video about the Whkpono, which was donated to Caritas Jerusalem. And then in this particular case, we've actually got a group from Wellington who are praying for peace and have been doing so for more than a year for the Holy Land, which then draws us onto our sort of individual questions, that see, judge, act that we like to follow. And so there are questions that will pop up for students to talk about, go through each of those phases, which will link into the focus and what we've been talking about. Once we've done that, there are a few ideas around activities. And there's not a lot of information here, but there are some really good ideas for your students to think about. How can they sort of respond after what you've learnt, what you've talked about? Maybe we could do a prayer wall, or we could make a prayer team, all linking into that focus. And so some really good ideas there. You can choose. Then we move into, hey, look, we've been through that whole sort of focus. You now can sort of sign off your passport, so to speak. I wonder, do you want to talk us through the peace passport, Justine? We're going to look at it in a little bit more detail soon, but what's the purpose of the peace passport?
So the Peace Passport is again an opportunity to connect into the learning that your children will have been doing as a result of participating in, for instance, like we've just been talking about, peace in the Holy Land. So we're going to be thinking about peace through prayer. So they'll have things that will be a little bit of a descriptor around the country they've just visited. They'll have scripture incorporated into their Peace Passport. They're going to have the CST principles will be highlighted. And then a very small little reflection on what that Caritas connection is. What are we doing in that space? But very importantly is then to give our students an opportunity to record their thoughts or their learning. So there's a whole page that's been designated for that learning journey. And the way that you do that will be determined by you and your students. You may draw pictures, you may write prayers, you might write an actual reflective process. It could be a poem. So that is a page that's been set aside for teachers and classes to decide how they'd like to reflect on their learning. Then we connect that beautifully into our little stickers. So you'll see the praying hands at the bottom over there. Once our students have officially visited that part of the world, they've done the learning that has been created as part of that, they can then give themselves a stamp endorsing that they have now completed that journey. And they'll put their sticker on there and move on to the next journey destination.
Fantastic. And just to make it even more exciting, there's a digital version of this passport, and that doesn't have a sticker. We don't really want students sticking a sticker on their screen. They will tick a tick box rather than the sticker. Yeah, the sticker there. Then we get to our closing prayer. So as Justine said before, the opening prayer is looking at the Jubilee prayer in different languages. There's always a unique closing prayer for each of the focuses. And this particular one, because we're looking at the Holy Land, there's a prayer for the Holy Land. And the words will be on the screen, or in some cases, there are videos as well that can be used. And then we'd move on to the next one. So maybe just very quickly, we'll just tell you the 5 focuses. So the one we've just looked at is building peace through prayer. And that's a really good starting one. Then we had building peace through respect. That links into, if I'm right, Justine, the work with Aotearoa up north from a Caritas story perspective. So that's the New Zealand case study. Then the third one is building peace through solidarity. The case study for that is Ukraine, isn't it, Justine? I think it is. It's lighting a candle for
Yes.
Ukraine. Yeah, so
Yes.
that is a really powerful case study, that one, traveling to Ukraine. The fourth one is building peace through change. And this one here, we're looking at advocacy and climate change, and there's a particular campaign called Turn Debt into Hope, which again is great for students to know about, and sort of positive change. And the last one, what's the last one, Justine?
We're going to build peace through service. So we recognize that faith requires action. So we've got to be able to make a stand in solidarity, and use our gifts to obviously serve others. So we're going to then visit the Rohingya refugee camp and learn a little bit about the barefoot counselors and see what they do on the ground to serve their community. And then an invitation, as always, with all of these aspects of learning, is for our children to put these into action themselves.
Yeah, completely. I've just jumped back to the web page after looking at the blueprint. There are the posters and the bricks that you can obviously print if you need to. You can also order more of those too. We've still got lots of those. If you need it, let us know. And then we come to the liturgy. So the liturgy, there's 3 files here, right? We've got notes, which take you right through, as well as the presentation slides for the liturgy in both PowerPoint and Google Slides again. Is there anything you want to talk about with the liturgy, Justine?
I think we've got everything there. Look, there are songs that you might choose to
It's a lot,
incorporate
isn't
in
it?
there, and there are prayers that have been designed for both junior and secondary school students. So we can do that on offer in the liturgy notes.
Fantastic. Then you've got your options for the passports and the stickers. So you should hopefully have received a pack of posters and stickers and the printed out piece passports. We thought we'd just very quickly show you the digital passport, the digital version of the piece passport, so you can see how that works. It looks very, very similar to the printed version, except for the fact that rather than having students write in it, that you would with a pen, they can actually type in. So if you download this, again, I've got the same issue with the browser. If you download this, which I'll do now, and then not open it in a browser, that's probably that's going to work. And then you'll find when you click on a box, you can type in, your nickname. You can put either what you want there. You can, and when you type into a box, even if it's really long, now your date of birth obviously wouldn't be really long, but later when you're adding in your learnings and a prayer or notes or what have you, so if we go down to one of those, if you for some reason have hundreds and hundreds of things that you want to put in here, when you get down to the bottom of the box, it will just start shrinking your text, so you will never lose any of the text, so it will never be hidden. The font will just change size, so that's probably good to be aware of. If your students are using a digital passport, just get them to save their file with their name in it. Otherwise, you're going to get lots and lots of files with all the same name, and it's going to be very confusing. So it's probably an important thing to remember. One thing we didn't talk about, Justine, are the last two pages where I guess there's special places where the students can write in some ideas, eh? Is that the end of this? Here we are. So the very back of the passport has that sort of reminder about where we've been. It's got the poster. We've got page 14 and 15. So page 14 is more writing down from your class perspective. Well, what have you done and what are the ways in which you're going to work together to build peace? So that sort of community aspect. And then page 15 is more of an individual look. What have you really learned during Social Justice Week? And how can you imagine building peace? What does it look like? That's a section where they can fill in individually. Anything else that you'd like to hear about the passport, Justine, before we click it off?
No, I think you've covered everything off there. Can you just go in and make sure that I get a stamp to say I've did the prayer one?
Oh yeah, better do that. Well, let's do that. So we talked about that tick box. Here we go. So this is the first one here, building peace through prayer. We come to page 5. I've sort of written down what we've learned about prayer and the Holy Land, and then I'm just going to click that little circle and it's going to make a little for us. We know we've been there. We're not using the sticker, just the tick box. Great.
Perfect.
Reminder. Thanks for that, Justine. Then we're getting close to the end of that first wave of buttons. A lot of these are from previous years in Social Justice Week for the Peace Focus. So we've got our Champions for Peace action templates, but we've just sort of rebranded those for this year. You can definitely still use those. What comes after that, all those main buttons there, is you're going to find all those videos. So within the slides, there's going to be links that will take you straight to those videos. But if for some reason you want to access them all together or you want to see them all, you can get them from the website. They're all sort of in chronological order of focus. And then what do we have right at the bottom, Justine?
Well, we have obviously had this thematic learning journey over the past 3 years. So we've got all the resources you might need to still access from previous years. So in 2024, we did the story, so quite a different way that we created learning for students. You can see we've got the liturgies incorporated in there, teacher background notes, and then similarly, we've then gone in and put the 2023 resources. And in 2023, we had learning activities. So I think there were about 45 learning activities that you would be able to access through that. And so each year there's a little bit of a different way that we've looked at the learning, but these are great ways for you to go back and look to see what's been available from past years.
Definitely, and it's been quite an adventure, right? Starting way back in 2023 and finding our way 3 years into 2025. Just like
Absolutely.
always, we'd love to hear what you've been up to during Social Justice Week, how you've used the resources. We'd love to see some passports, anything that you've been doing, share with us. And we'd love to see that, and we'd love to share with others as well through our CANS Education Facebook page and other channels too. So definitely stay in touch with us. And if you have any extra resources that you need more posters, bricks, even more passports or sticker sheets, then let us know and we can send them your way. Hopefully that provides a good starting point for you or your staff. And so all the best, keep in touch, and we'll hear from you later.
Kia ora, everyone.